Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel if you're returning. If you're new, my name is Tori and I'm going to be planning for January 2024. Thank the Lord above. This is a quick look at what December looked like and I am so delighted to literally be turning a page. So let's get into it. So I started my January plans by laying down this washi that I was actually trying to get rid of. So I used it a lot in my journaling pages in December, as well as my January calendars and my weeks and my A5 hobonichi. And you know, I felt like it was appropriate because black and gold are the traditional New Year's colors in the United States, along with silver. Like mixed metals is the vibe for New Year's, in my opinion. And so the black and the gold foil just really, it said January for me. So I put it down and I am just going to be writing down all of my library programs that I have for this month in my monthly like I normally do. And I am going to be using the Pilot Friction in 0.7 millimeter tip. I have the 0.4 tip as well, but I found it's almost too thin for my liking in the Tomoe River paper. So I am looking into purchasing different millimeter tips, but eventually, well, that will happen eventually, just not right now. And you can see I'm like fiddling with my mouse from my computer because this is like literally me planning out my month for the very first time. Normally, I already have it kind of pre-planned, and I'm just transferring the information. But this is really me brainstorming the things and activities that we could be doing at the library for the month of January, with a few preset exceptions from my boss who plans our, weeks in the library where we work Tuesdays through Saturdays instead of Mondays through Thursdays. So I am using the Pentel, I think it's the Touch. No, it is the Pentel sign pen. I have been told they are different. And this is just a black one, very basic, very straightforward. And I just wanted to letter it in because I'm still going back and forth on what I'm going to be using the monthlies for, whether I want to do like a full monthly reflection on the bottom of this spread for my mental health, or if I want to do just a mental health reflection in my weeks. But I just feel like the weeks monthly is so tiny that I wouldn't fully flesh out my thoughts. This is an insert right here from, I believe, the Paper Test Designs, and let me look. What is that from? I don't even know. Paper Test Designs, and I think it's a collab bundle, but I can never, ever remember who the collab was with. So if you look up Paper Test Designs on Etsy, you'll find this fold out. It's a 3-month fold out, but I printed it back and front so I could plan out for 6 months. And I was referencing this insert from my rings where I had brainstormed some pretty regular programming that I'm going to be doing throughout the year, and thinking about like, how can I incorporate it into January and make sure that I start a routine that makes sense for people. And so I'm marking off holidays with the washi as well, because obviously the new year means we do not, the library's not open on New Year's, and we're also not open on Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And this seems like, I found that like if I lightly erase with the friction by kind of, taking my time with it, it doesn't crinkle the Tomoe River paper as much. And I don't mind a crinkly Tomoe River paper, but sometimes if you get too heavy-handed with the friction tip, it kind of warps the page specifically where you erased. And that definitely happened here, but less so than if I had just gone to town on it like a regular eraser. So yeah, just trying to get my ducks in a row here. I do have some appointments already pre-planned, and I've already had to reschedule one of them. So I'll probably in my next video try to incorporate like a quick glance of my monthly, because stuff always changes in the monthly, because stuff gets moved around, canceled. And so I don't like pre-plan in my weeks, obviously, because I know it's going to change a lot. So the monthly is what sees the most changes with regards to like canceling and rescheduling and just like moving things around. It is my attempt at organized chaos. I don't know if I do a great job. And I did finish this. Like I planned for January, I believe, I think it was before Christmas that I planned. Like this video in particular has been sitting for a hot minute. But I was planning pretty early in advance so that I would know what I was going to do when I got back to work after the holiday. And so I wouldn't have to worry about it while I was on like my personal leave break. And so, like, for example, what I just wrote down with the 11:30 to 1:30 circulation shift, that got changed because I did not go into work on the 2nd either, like I thought I would. So I am just writing down all of the regular circulation shifts that I have at my library, along with regular story times, regular teen programs, regular children's programs, any appointments, any days off, anything like that. Like it all gets dumped in the monthly. And I do also duplicate this in my rings, and the rings is kind of where the changes are made on the fly, and then I add those changes into this monthly as well, just to, again, copy that information, make sure that I'm staying on top of my plans. Stuff still falls through the cracks, but at least I can try my best to like know what I'm doing and when I'm doing it if I write it down twice. So that's my reason for it, and I'm sticking to it. And I am changing things up a little bit this year with my library programs, changing the days on which some of the programs are held to see if that'll, just help with anybody who's struggling to get to the programs on the days that they were in 2023. So we'll see how that goes. I'm looking forward to figuring out if that works or not. I've also added in some, I don't know that I've reflected it on this calendar. I should probably go back in and write it, because I'm pretty sure I added in like little sessions for patrons to come in and use our 3D printer, just to spread the awareness that we have it. Like they can always come in and use the 3D printer, but I feel like they can't, because it does require a little bit of advanced planning, because you can't just print something in a 3D printer the way you can in a normal printer. I had a student come in the other day, and he wanted to print off a 3D model of a plant cell for an assignment. And I was like, okay, awesome. We can do that for you. And when you need it by? And he's like, today. I was like, young man, gentleman, sir, let me sit down and tell you the ways in which that will not happen. Because, I mean, if you don't know anything about 3D printing, and even if you do, it's logically going to take more time, because you're heating up filament that's basically plastic that's getting shot through a very small tube into the format you tell it to via computer code. So, like, that takes a little bit longer than just printing something out on a piece of paper. I was like, dude, this is going to take 8 hours. What do you mean you need it today? And he was like, oh, okay. Well, and so like just knowing in advance how the 3D printer is going to print, like the duration of the print job, whether we can actually print it with our specific printer, because our printer takes a specific file format. there's just a lot of moving pieces, and people are already intimidated by a 3D printer. So when they come in thinking that they can print it like a photocopy, it gets a little challenging. And so I think that makes them hesitate to even approach it. And then when they do approach it, it's not what they expect. And it's kind of like a double-edged sword in that sense, because I can't control how they perceive it until they get there. So I'm trying my best to like mitigate some of that by, actively putting on the program calendars for our library that the 3D printer's open for use, if that makes sense. So I was trying to decide here when our teen book club would start back. And I was just thinking that maybe the 9th was too early. I think I do end up deciding that is too early. Let me look at the monthly from where it is now to where it was before. Because I do think that I ended up realizing it was a little bit too early in the month to be back on the teen book club train. Yes, so our teen book club will actually be starting on January the 23rd instead of the 9th, because my book club kit won't even come in until next week, which would be the week of the 8th through the 12th. Anyways, so I also have not taken down that I took the 11th off. So, like, do you see, even just now looking at my monthly while I'm doing this voiceover compared to when I'm writing it down, things get moved around so much in my monthly. And I don't necessarily think that that's a failure on my part for planning. It really is just a matter of how things end up unfolding throughout the week. And I really just try to adjust and make sure that my monthly reflects what actually happened as much as possible. And so I am also trying to stay very, much more conservative. I wouldn't say much more conservative. I'm trying to exhibit more self-control with regards to stickering. Because I'm very aware that this is a harder bound book. It's not like fully hardback bound, but I mean, it's pretty, I would say it's malleable cardboard, I guess. But yeah, it's got a harder backing to it. So I'm a little bit more apprehensive about chunking it up like I did with my cousin, because the cousin has that cardstock back. So I didn't feel as concerned about that, because I knew that when push came to shove, it would be able to fold back on itself and make sure that I could still journal in it towards the end of the year, all that jazz. But with this one, I'm a lot more nervous for that. So you'll see that I don't lay down a lot of stickers like I used to, like I did in last year for my monthlies, because like I said, I'm just trying real hard not to bulk up this planner ahead of time. I did end up laying down one more, like a sticker in the bottom right corner, and some New Year's stickers that I got at Hobby Lobby after I filmed this video. And one of the stickers says, "I like to party." And by party, I mean books. Because, I feel like for some people, New Year's means partying and celebrating the transition into a new year. But I just want to read. And that's what I did. I read a lot on New Year's Eve while watching a football game. Or was that New Year's Day? I think that was New Year's Day. It is only January the 5th as I'm making this voiceover, and I'm already like, what day was that? So, but yeah, I was watching a football game and reading my book, and we went to bed, and then we woke up, and it was a beautiful 2024, and I hope everybody's 2024 is going delightfully. I have been swamped by freelance work, so that's why this video is not only a voiceover, but it's also late, according to my own, self-imposed schedule, which I know it doesn't matter to anybody else, but I do like to try to stay consistent if I can. It's just that I feel like I got rained on with all the assignments for my freelance work this week, because it's like the new year, people were given gifts, and part of my freelance work involves fulfilling orders, and those orders were Christmas gifts for some people. And so it's like, okay, now I have like an influx of orders that I didn't anticipate, and I should have thought about it, but I just honestly didn't, because it's my first year working with this particular freelance client. And so, I was not prepared, y'all. I got normally I get maybe 2-3 orders a day, and I was getting like 5-6 a day. So I was like, oh my goodness. So once I finally crawl out beneath the pile, I'll let you know. But for now, it's still happening. I have come to a bit of like a moment of self-awareness that so today's the 5th, it's about 4 p.m., and I have 4 assignments left to do, and I was like, you know what, they're not due till next week. Stop working and enjoy a freaking weekend. So I'm trying to listen to myself, even though my anxiety is like, you should get that done because you're going to get more assignments on Monday. And sometimes you just got to relax, So I'm trying. I don't know that I'm succeeding, but I'm trying to do it. So otherwise, I just go back in with a red pilot friction, 7mm tip as well, and write in library closings and specific days when I'm off work and when I'm working on the weekends that are not normal to my schedule. And then I did add in a Lisa Frank sticker of my husband's birthday, and I, made sure to note that down. And so, that's really kind of what my January looks like. I wrote some reminders at the bottom, and it's just been a matter of changing things around when necessary since I planned all of this out, and marking down when things have been rescheduled and canceled. And I am really enjoying the hobonichi hon, and I'm really excited. I love the way the first week is coming out in this planner, and it feels like a breath of fresh air, and I feel so much cozier now that I'm not in a brick of an A5 anymore. And I'm just excited to try and stay a little less maximalist this year, but we'll see how it goes. So if you have any questions about anything that you see or anything that you want to know about, feel free to drop it in the comments below. I love speaking with you all, and I hope you'll consider subscribing if you made it this far, and if you're not already subscribed. And last but not least, I hope you'll consider giving this video a thumbs up to help my channel grow, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!